Hey, Lovey Trades! I wanted to do a video analysis update of really just two stocks, but they give a nice message for some other members of their sector that I personally am exposed to. So, we're about 18 months into a VIX crash. The March quad witching is in about 5 or 6 weeks. And, I found myself reading that a CEO of a growth stock that I own specifically called the bottom. I haven't read these articles, but they all say, or this Barron's article caught my attention. That's Barron saying the in-phase CEO has called the bottom. I've never heard a CEO call the bottom before, but I found myself thinking about some things I'm exposed to, and I found myself agreeing with his analysis. So I wanted to do a little bit of a video just for myself to see, where, if he's doing wave theory, he's probably not doing wave theory, but, we're somehow coming to the same analysis. So here's mine. I think First Solar has formed a wave one and a wave two, and this is another wave one and another wave two. And for a long time, I said that yes, this was another wave one and another wave two. And I was looking for FSLR to explode into a wave three of wave three that went past the 161.8% extension of this wave one, and it did. So now we've seen FSLR pull back to the 50% retracement to the 61.8% retracement. So this 61.8% retracement, 121.59, lines up pretty nicely with 123.13. So that's going to be the kind of downside invalidation level for this count. And what I'm expecting at the bare minimum is that FSLR is going to go break to a new high. Whether, the most likely count, and I think the most evidenced count, is that this is 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I'm looking for another wave 5 higher. Now, FSLR going to the 240s and 250s, it wouldn't feel like a wave 5. And realistically, wave 5 is either the length of wave 1 or it's the length of wave 3 placed at the wave 4 low. And that gives a little bit of room for FSLR to go right all the way up to that big round, and this is where I wanted to make this video because, I was thinking about what the in-phase energy CEO said, and that number, just happens to be the length of wave 3 placed at the wave 4 low happens to be 300. Now, I think that FSLR even just going and breaking above this high of 232 would be a nice little RR above 121.59 to 123.13. Now, I'm holding two of FSLR's kind of related names. Now, FSLR has been an outperformer for in-phase energy and Tesla, but I do think that, this in-phase CEO, if he's correct about his stock, that it's not going to be the only clean energy stock, that puts in a nice low. So looking at Tesla and looking at in-phase energy, both of which I own, I think FSLR and, QCLN, an ETF that holds a lot of these names, they're all kind of lining up and, agreeing with this CEO that we could see an important opportunity in this market. Now, I'm not going to get into fundamentals. I really don't want to get silver involved, but even, this kind of thesis that some people have that BRICS, Brazil, Russia, Iran, and probably soon Iraq too, and China, and South Africa, soon also probably to be Saudi Arabia. They're forming BRICS, this BRICS coalition, and they're trying to take the U.S. off the petrodollar. It's kind of what's going on in the world. And this thesis, and we're getting maybe into, kooky land here, but this thesis that some people have is that America has prepared for this by buying all of the silver and the precious metals and putting them into all of the solar panels, essentially. So we've kind of already prepared for this VIX petrodollar shock, and, it's all kind of coming together for Klaus Schwab's plan. Anyway, that's well beyond the realms of Elliott wave theory. But looking at China, looking at the biotechs, what in 2020 were called the lockdown stocks, and also the fact that the Chiefs are playing the 49ers just like they did before 2020, it's just all kind of looking like, I don't know what it's kind of looking like. The Elliott wave is looking like this CEO calling the bottom. Maybe he's going to be like Babe Ruth. He's going to call his shot. And in phase did bottom. 73 would be way too wide of an invalidation. The CEO is saying, the in phase may hold above 93.52 and put in some sort of cyclical low. And so might a very closely related name, First Solar. And also, I've noticed some unusual options activity on QCLN. Now, this is a little bit of a messy chart, but just looking at QCLN, what I've got right here are these fibs. 84.06 is how I'll remember I lined up these levels. 84.06. So looking at QCLN, an ETF that holds a good amount of these clean energy stocks, I've noticed the MMs have been taking some unusual positions in this name. And we've also heard some news that a massive copper mine has been discovered. This is a little getting into fundamental territory. A massive copper mine has been discovered recently. A massive lithium mine has been discovered recently. We're getting all these supply boosts to the market that might make some of this stuff a little more affordable. Anyway, that was all what's called fundamentals. And maybe the CEO is doing fundamental analysis. Hopefully he is. That's probably, I don't want my CEOs doing Elliott wave. Trust me, when someone starts doing Elliott wave, they go a little nuts apparently. But I think this CEO, the stars are going to align. And I think he's going to make quite the call here. But I don't think his stock is going to be alone. I've noticed the MMs, taking a little interest in this ETF. 32.37 is very tight. But notice that is almost exactly this high right here, 31.24. Let's see, these other fibs, the 161.8% extension of this ABC correction of 23.85 is also pretty wide. But I think in phase, the 78.6% retracement, that might not be too bad. Let's look at this. 90 tops perfectly at 90. Kind of reminds me how SPY bottomed at the S&P 500 bottomed at 666.66, I think even. But it did bottom at 666 in 2008. Anyway, 90 is not an evil number, I don't think. 16.14, 90 the number of completion. Anyway, this is all kind of lining up with Agenda 2032. BRICS is going to come after us or something. What was it? 15. I'll rant about BRICS after I get these fibs right. BRICS is coming after the dollar. But America's prepared for it by getting all the precious metals into the solar panels, so we'll switch to clean energy at just the right time. Yeah, 31.95, that's a nice level. I think that, I'm holding in phase and I'm holding Tesla, and Tesla, you know. So this is Tesla. We notice right here, looks like in the long term, kind of similar to in phase. One, two, three, four, 5 ways up potentially. An ABC correction. This is the monthly chart, so it looks a little ugly. The real way, yes, this is the weekly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 waves up. I believe this is a large wave 1, an ABC correction wave 2, and then this 1, 2, and then potentially another wave 1, and an ABC wave 2 correction that may have ended wave 1, ABC wave 2 at the 78.6% retracement with this little wick. So 175 is that kind of pick the low level. I won't sell Tesla if it goes below 175. I'm going to hold it. Right now, I get lots of premium from TSLY. So what I have is I have about 35-40% Tesla. And I'm actually still in the driver's seat on that position. Tesla. I collected a massive amount of dividends for that, and I've used those dividends to buy an extraordinary amount of assets that pay income, and things like, ranging from investment grade bonds to, zero DTE ETFs to, the best BDCs to SRHR, which, holds the best real estate stocks and then sells covered calls on them, to FEPI, to BALI, so Tesla, I've used that as an asset accumulator. And so I also hold ARK in OARK. I'm in the money on both of those positions, and similar to OARK, getting huge dividends and using them to accumulate generational wealth. But anyway, I'm expecting that this 78.6% retracement for, my Tesla and Tesla holding that I've held for a bit, with my in-phase energy holding, and even some more speculative things I've bought on a clean energy stock, Nikola, I won't get into in that video. I'm even considering, a leap on Fisker as well. I'll get into those in other videos. But I'm looking for, and I'm bag holding XPEV. So I bought XPEV. I made a good little money on Li Auto. I'm bag holding, and I sold most of that. I'm bag holding XPEV, and I've collected, I have mixed results on Camping World. They're mostly positive. I've kept it a good amount of dividends. But anyway, that's more of the auto sector. Yeah, the auto sector is related to Tesla, but that's kind of outside the scope of this video. I just wanted to focus on the clean energy specifically. But, we are going to get to a point with Volkswagen. And, it's really hard to talk about, a lot of these. I think Volkswagen is still very quietly General Motors, Volkswagen, But yeah, Volkswagen, I think, is held above this really important invalidation. Look at that. Very quietly. Wow. So, yeah, they've made this difficult, but come on, I don't know. Volkswagen's held above 10.60. Wave 1, ABC Wave 2. Yeah, it's made it difficult. It's made many a furu, many a revised chart, I'm sure. But that's sometimes what happens to these type of things. It wasn't the year of auto stocks and clean energy in 2023. And it wasn't the year of, China. Well, it was the year of software. But, really kind of China and biotechs, even kind of small caps in general, gave way to mega cap tech and, mega cap, large cap assets in most of the equities markets around the world. What we could see potentially in 2024, it's just kind of reminding me of the last time that the Chiefs and, the 49ers played, and, right? And then we had this, big quad witching rotation, these global events. Volkswagen looks really interesting as an invalidation above 10.60 to what could be happening to a lot of these clean energy stocks. Anyway, Coinbase was the other one in this video. I'm holding Coinbase, and I found myself being not necessarily excited. I never get excited about it, but I hold about 35% Coinbase, and a real good amount of CONY. I'm collecting huge dividends from that. It's been, kind of great, but I think this is a wave one and a wave two. This is another wave one and wave two. And then it has this big wave three, highest high on the RSI. Very similar debate to FSLR, that this wave four has gone right down, retested this wave one high, 114.43. Now, a lot of people, wow, that's beautiful. 114.43, and this wave four, or maybe a wave two, comes down and retests 114.51. This is very textbook. I'm holding Coinbase. I'm holding Coney. I'm at bare minimum expecting, a 187.39 to go. If wave 5 was the length of wave 1 placed at the wave 4 low, it wouldn't make a new high. Coinbase, very similar to First Solar, might not just go make that marginal new high. Sometimes these growth stocks, when they have their volatility expansions to the upside, it's hard to tell the difference between a wave 5 and a wave 3. And the only way to do it is if Coinbase starts to go turn up. And on this weekly, on this weekly RSI, it gets above 82.20. That's going to be credence to this becoming a red 1 and a red 2 instead of a black 3 and a black 4. And that's where the very next step is to go to the IPO chart. So anyway, it's something I think about for Coinbase. I'm holding this and I'm feeling good about it. Coinbase and First Solar, they both, in my opinion, have clean counts. I've slaughtered, this is an untouched chart from a video. When it was like right here, I was talking about how it's top holdings, MicroStrategy and Coinbase had already gone and broken this high. And while it was still right here, I said this is kind of the textbook follow the leader trade, exact same counts, top holdings go, perfect. This is untouched. But what it could be is that this is actually a red 1. I mean, this goes down all the way to the 78.6% retracement. So wave personality suggests once the 61.8% retracement is strongly broken, we get all the way, down to the 78.6% retracement, and I'm talking about this advance. We get past the 61.8% retracement all the way down to the 78.6% retracement. A lot of times, that's when wave theorists, they might call it, a wave 4 if they sell a Discord, but in the back of their mind, they're thinking the proper count is that this is a wave 2, and that's where it starts to get a little interesting for some of these crypto related plays. It starts to make me think maybe Coinbase isn't gonna enter a wave 5, 1 2 1 2. Are we gonna see some of these names go parabolic for BITQ specifically? This exact retracement, just to get it super right. The 78.6% retracement on something extremely volatile like BITQ is almost ridiculously tight, but for the purposes of, perfection, 6.17 is going to give, the buy the book 13.68. That's 78.6% retracement, 7.78. A little tight, but if this does get going up and BITQ goes and breaks above 76.86, which is not much of a burden for a real volatile thing to do on the weekly, this is going to be more evidence that this is a wave 3 of wave 3 in progress. Terra Wolf, I've gone over this, so it's, just kind of another example of how some of these sexier names, I guess. Maybe I shouldn't call this, you know, sexy. It won't be so sexy when these stocks destroy the financial system, I guess. But yeah, TeraWolf won't be the prettiest chart, but I think this is from this low 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 waves up, an ABC correction, ending a large wave 2, also from this low, another wave 1, another wave 2. They're all singing the same song. Um, if it holds above 1.24, we're about to see them all dance.